Hey guys, how's it going? Nick here, and I wanted to cover some of my favorite things that I've seen during the Fallout 76 beta. I have been seeing a lot of negative press about the game lately, so I kind of wanted to focus on some of the things that I think Bethesda is doing right in this game. One of the main features of this game, and one of my personal favorite things about it, is the crafting system. In Fallout 4, the crafting system was a really good upgrade from Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. I thought it was really awesome that they kind of made all the junk around the world actually worth something, and you actually needed to pick it up if you wanted to create a certain weapon or armor or even something at your settlement. In Fallout 76, this mechanic is expanded even further. Not only is there a lot more perks that require you to have in order to craft certain things, it is all tied to your intelligence. So if your intelligence is higher, when you scrap certain items, you're going to get more junk back. And as well as if you scrap certain weapons, you're going to learn the recipe on how to create attachments for that gun. For example, if you scrap a 10mm pistol, you might receive the schematics on how to build a large magazine for that gun. So for your main 10mm pistol, you now have more options in what you can craft. I personally think this is a huge step up from Fallout 4's system. I thought it was pretty lame from a lore mechanic perspective, where all you had to do was grab one perk and you can craft pretty much all of the attachments until you leveled it up to the second one, until the third one, and then you could just suddenly craft every attachment for every weapon known to man, whether or not you picked that weapon up or not. And I think that this makes sort of having a personal weapon feel a lot more special. If you're maining pistols, you're going to be picking up a bunch of pistols, scrapping them, and learning a whole bunch about said pistol. I think that that mechanic works out a lot better, and it makes a lot more sense to me than what we've seen in the past. I also think the addition of different schematics and recipes in the game makes things a lot better. So instead of just having all this knowledge readily available to you, you actually have to go out, find a certain note, holotape, or something like that, and actually learn how to create said item. From an RPG standpoint, this just seems to make a lot more sense. Now, the second thing that I bring up, and I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with me, but I think that the VAT system in this game makes a lot more sense and works better than the previous VAT system. VATS made sense in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas because it was harder to aim, especially in Fallout 3, you couldn't even aim down sights. So you kind of needed VATS or another system to sort of stop time and kind of figure out how to go from there. In today's world of FPSs, I think personally that bullet time or slowing down time makes a better system than what VATS is. In fact, it even got to the point where when I played Fallout 4, I wouldn't even use VATS at all, and I would download a third-party mod that gave me bullet time, pretty much slowing time down. I think that is a lot more fun system. Of course, in an online game like Fallout 76, you can't slow time down at all, so that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think what we have for VATS is a pretty good system. Everything is working in real time, so that makes the danger still apparent. You can't just freeze time and take as much time as you need to focus on how to handle this battle. I know a bunch of longtime fans are disappointed of how VATS is implemented into this game, but VATS is sort of a staple in Fallout, and I would rather it be in the game, totally different than what we know, than it being completely scrapped from the game entirely. But anyways, moving on, the next thing that I really like about this game is the perk system. The perks were really good in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. I actually really like that system where you had these certain skills, and when you leveled up, you had to put a number of points into a skill that you wanted to increase, all based on your intelligence. But I sort of like that everybody starts off with one special in every category, and you sort of have to build your character from there. To me, when I was playing, it sort of made things more personal and special, like I was actually building a character for me. It sort of brought me back to those New Vegas and 3 days when I would start a new character and I would sort of build that character from there. In Fallout 4, I thought the perk system was kind of lacking because in that game you sort of had to pick the same perks if you wanted to get the most out of Fallout. For example, you always kind of needed 4 perception, you always kind of needed at least 4 intelligence because you needed those lock-picking perks or those hacking perks. In this game, even if you only have 1 in each category, you could still grab those perks. I think that every Fallout game moving forward should have this system. Plus, they even said in an interview that this makes it a lot easier for them to add more perks into the game, which I think is a really good thing. If they're adding in a whole bunch of new content, DLC updates, content patches, you should be getting more perks with that. And I know that the system is in place because it's an online game, but I personally think that in the sense of Fallout, it being a persistent world where you just can't pause, you can't pull up your Pip-Boy and take as much time as you can't safely, use a stim pack. You actually have to plan that all before you actually get into a fight. I think this makes things a lot more interesting and a lot more tactical, in my opinion. The next thing I want to cover is the world in Fallout 76. And I personally am loving the environment of this game. Appalachia and West Virginia is such an interesting environment to sort of explore in a post-apocalyptic world, and I think Bethesda did a really good job with this. With the map being 4 times as large as Fallout 4 and with 6 different biomes, it really feels like a completely brand new ecosystem when you leave the forest inside of Vault 76 and you move on towards the other biomes like the Savage Divide, Toxic Valley, Ash Heap. Everything just feels different. And although everything is more colorful and we don't see as many bland colors as we did in the last games, I think that this game does a really good job at capturing that dark atmospheric vibe that Fallout gives you. I mean, just going around and reading the different notes and listening to the different holotapes, you could see that there actually is a lot of dark, real moments that the people actually experienced in Appalachia before everybody died out and the Vault Dwellers escaped. And that was actually one of my personal gripes with Fallout 4, is that even though it did have those moments where it felt dark, there was a lot of comic relief, and it felt like that the characters didn't really portray a sense of hopelessness that comes with a Fallout game. And I know a lot of people have been giving flack to Bethesda for the exclusion of NPCs that give you quests and dialogue options and things like that. But I think that the amount of quests and the way that you receive them in this game, it feels really nice and it kind of works well for the setting that we're in. People seem to forget that this is a post-apocalyptic world where there isn't that many people walking around, and there was a very big catastrophic event that wiped out everybody in West Virginia. And now, I know the events that take place because I played the main story. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but there is a reason why there is no more living creatures inside of Fallout 76 except for the Scorch Beast, and all of the other monsters. And while we're on the subject of creatures and enemies, I think that the enemies in this game, although the AI acts a little bit weird at times, I think the enemies in this game are really interesting. I'm glad that we're not dealing with another Raider faction, a whole bunch of humans, another Brotherhood of Steel faction. I like that we're dealing with a whole bunch of creatures. We're walking around and we're sort of like Davy Crockett, walking through the wasteland, discovering everything all over again. And it's not going to be populated with people. It's going to be populated with all these mutated, hungry creatures that look at you like dinner. But anyways, I think that's where I'm going to wrap up this video. There is a lot more things that I really like about this game. There is definitely some things that I wish would change in this game, but overall, I'm having a blast with Fallout 76, and I really can't wait for this game to come out. I don't think anything is going to stop me from playing so many hours of this game and enjoying every single bit of it. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. What are some of the things that you think Bethesda has done really well with Fallout 76? What are some of the things that you guys are worried about this game? I want to have the discussion with you in the comment section below. And if you guys want to subscribe to my channel, please do so. I'm going to be uploading a bunch of Fallout 76 content on the way to release date. Tomorrow is the last day for the beta. If you're watching this video, it's actually going on right now. But I am hoping that I'm going to finish the main story by the end of this beta session. I'm kind of splicing all of the quests together and making one giant video because although Let's Plays are a thing and a lot of people are going to be posting their own Let's Plays on their channel, I personally don't really like the long form of videos, so I'm going to splice everything up just so you guys can see the main points of the main story. Of course, if you guys aren't interested in spoils, you guys can move on to some of my other videos. Thank you guys for checking this video out. My name is Nickaroo. You guys have a great day.